Hey everybody, I hope you're all doing really well. I'm loving the response to me deciding to share my hair journey and how the natural hair growth oils are working and the henna and all of that. So I just want to thank you so much for subscribing, for liking, for sharing, for talking to me. It's been great talking to you. I've been really loving getting to know you all. You're all so wonderful. What a great community, the hair community. I guess they say the speed of the leader. I guess, you feel the people who like this vibe will connect with it. And I'm just loving that. It's just like my dance fitness classes. The women in my class are amazing. They're just amazing because I guess that's the energy I'm putting out and it attracts the same people. So I can tell that this is what's happening with the hair journey videos as well. So I want to thank you. I'm just loving a lot of you out there. Thank you for your compliments. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. God is so good. You've been a blessing to me as well. So, I'm old school, and back in the day, I don't know if any of you ladies remember, we didn't share our secrets back in the day. We just kept things to ourselves. But now it's almost like there's this urge to just love one another and just share and just give whatever God has blessed you with. You want somebody else to be blessed too. And I just feel so overwhelmed to be able to do that. So this video, I basically just wanted to come on and just kind of let you know the latest that's going on. It's time for me to actually use that gloss that we talked about before. We so far with the last few series is I did the oil, so please check that out. If you're a new subscriber, please check that out. Please subscribe, like, and share. And thank you. I haven't checked, but I'm probably at 2,000 by now. I really want to thank you all. That's like almost 500 or so subscribers since I've done the hair. So I really appreciate you so much for joining in and for all your compliments. And any new subscriber, just go ahead and go to all the series and see how that works. And then definitely communicate with me and let me know if there's any questions you have, okay? But for now, I've answered a lot of questions, but you know what? I just love, see, the teacher in me just loves when, someone asks a question that I'm like, that's a good question. I think maybe I should talk more about that. And the question that I got that really made me think, I'm not going to assume everyone knows what this is, So the question is that what is a gloss? So I figured, why just answer that? Let me do a series, and this is going to be the beginning of a series of me explaining the difference between a mask, a gloss, and oil. Now you know what oil is, but I just want to give more of a conversation on what it is. I wanted to just post a video of me making that gloss because it's time to do it. I'm going to do it today. Today's a rainy day, but I love the way my hair came out, so I just want to wear it for a couple of hours before I start doing my hair. I'm probably not even going to go anywhere, but I'm just like loving how it came out, Because ever since I showed you my last hairstyle, I've been led by the Lord, believe it or not, to just start wearing it out. The Holy Spirit is very mysterious. He doesn't do it our way. God does things His way. And so He heard my cry, He heard my prayer, and He knows what's in my heart. He knows what's going to uplift my spirit. And sometimes you're doing it just to make yourself put a joy in your heart, So I think God's like letting me know that, you know what, you can start wearing it. It doesn't have to be down your back to wear your hair down. So I've decided to wear my hair down, and I'm obeying. The other thing the Lord has led me to do is I'm dying to trim my hair right now. I'm really dying to. But remember, the Lord's in my journey, and He's putting on my heart, wait till October. So I'll do a whole video about that too. But I just realized I always trimmed my hair. And I don't have a problem trimming it. I can feel it. I can tell when it's time. And I feel like I want to trim my hair. So maybe just to share with you all, just a little side note. Sometimes I kind of get videos that have everything in one. So sometimes it's good. And then others are like, nope, stick to what you said you're going to talk about, So I'll talk about the trimming another time. But just as a little side note, maybe part of my journey, since you're part of it, I'm now still learning and I'm going to the next level with my journey, and I hope you can join me in it. Is that I'm learning that I think I was doing okay when I was trimming before, because I would trim after I took the weave out. I would take the weave out, trim, and if I was going to keep my hair out, then I hardly ever dealt with my hair. I would take out the weave, trim, put it back in the weave. And because I didn't know what to do. So I figured wash it, take care of it, make sure it's clean, make sure it's really good and clean, trim it, and then one day maybe I'll figure out what to do with it. So that's kind of what I've always done. If I kept it out long, if I did it more than 2 months, it starts falling out. So I just like, time to put it back in, you know? So this is kind of the first time, well, last year I did keep my hair out for, you know, it's been out for like 2 years or so, 3 years. But I've gone through a transition of it's falling out, as you know, with my other videos of dyeing it and stuff like that. So since the end of 2015, I haven't put any dyes or well, I've dyed it, but I haven't bleached it. And it hasn't been falling out for the most part. And I would trim it here and there. And then I did do a weave last fall for the winter, you know, and then it grew a lot. And I'm debating on if I'm going to do that again. I think I'm not, and I'd love for you to join me in this journey where I'm just going to go deeper with my strengthening techniques. And I'm going to use a lot of Curly Papa's ideas. I'm going to go on and just study more things. And I'm just going to do whatever my strengthening portion is. I'm going to go deeper with that. And what I mean by that is stronger in my strengthening. And that kind of brings me back to what I originally came here to talk to you about. Okay, so I really wanted to clarify the difference between the strengthening, the mask, the gloss, and the oils. So I want to tell you more about that journey. So I'm going to cut my hair in October, so we'll talk about that. And I plan on also going into deeper strengthening and maybe some teas to just add to my strengthening and my moisturizing and strengthening steps. Okay, so we're going to be talking more about that, and hopefully you'll be with me on that journey, because it'll be the first time I've ever not put a weave in for the winter time, and actually instead tried to figure out a way to manage it in the winter. So that's my goal. If I put a weave in, I put a weave in. But I'm going to try and see if I can handle not doing that and keep the wash and go. That's the plan. We'll see if that can work, because I think I'm on to something, and I'll talk to you more about that later. Okay, so going with the 3 things that I want to share the differences. Okay, so I have done all I can to find the definitions of the mask, the gloss, and the oil. I don't plan on going any deeper. I'm just going to go by what I understand based on the research I've done. If you know more and you'd like to define that even more, go ahead and do so. And please understand that it's okay that I don't have the answers to everything. I'm just going to get the gut ball rolling. How about that? Look at this video as me just getting that discussion going from what I see from my perspective, the difference. And then y'all come on in and tell me what you think. You know, have you heard differently? Okay? So I've looked at lots of videos. I've seen lots of things. And I just think, first of all, it's a cool term, gloss. And I think that gloss, that word is used in straight Caucasian hair community in terms of lightening the hair. You know what I mean? Gloss. So that word is used in the hair community in different ways. But I think the way that people in the Ayurvedic and the natural hair and just our community is using it, it's more of a conditioning, strengthening thing, right? Would you agree with that? Okay, so let me begin to tell you my definition, and I'd love us to build what we all can term it for those out there who really want to know, what is it? And I just appreciate that question. Okay, so let's start with the mask. When I was on Curly Papa's channel, I learned a lot from watching her. Then I started seeing those same terms other places, and I started looking at a lot. And what I understood the mask to be, and I'll explain what I mean by mask in terms of the ingredients that are in a mask. But in general, what I consider a mask, basically the gloss and the mask are kind of the same in the sense that it coats your hair. And it's part of a hair strengthening or conditioning regimen. So the mask is either going to be strengthening or it's going to be conditioning, or both. But more than likely it's going to be strengthening. Okay, so it is going to be something as though, and a lot of us know how people put perms on or how we dye our hair, right? The way we put it in our hair. Think about those days when we permed, if you're not perming anymore, or you've seen hairdressers apply product, and you've even seen me do it, and you've seen it now. By now, we've seen it a million times. If you're on this channel, you've seen a million other channels probably where they're applying product. So it's basically you're applying the product thoroughly all over your head. And usually you're going to section out your hair the way I do. You've seen me section out. I section this part out, and it depends on how dense your hair is. And if you need me to do a tape on that, I can do that too. A video on that, I can do that too. So you section your hair out depending on how dense meaning how thick, how many strands are within a square, you know what I mean, into a section of hair, how much you have in your hair. And sometimes if your hair is thin, if you look in it, you can see through it and things like that. So that tells you how dense your hair is, how much hair you have within a square inch. Okay, let's put it that way. So depending on that will depend on how you need to part your hair and how you need to clip it while you are applying product. So we're talking about applying product, right? So a mask will be applied just as the same that you would apply a perm, or if you would apply dye or anything else. So if you can think of how you ever dyed your hair or anything like that. So in a mask, depending on what you're putting in the mask, what kind of mask it is, just the way that a mask is used is that it's applied thoroughly throughout your hair after it's washed and towel dried for the most part, as dry as it can be. It doesn't have to be bone dry, but you want to completely try to get any excess water out. So you will have cleansed your hair. You can use my steps of how I cleanse, naturally cleanse it, or however you cleanse your hair. And I'd love to talk about that too, because it depends on your porosity levels, your and all of your porosity level and all of that on how you should cleanse your hair probably. And then beyond all that, your hair is your hair, what works for your hair. I always say our hair is like our fingerprints. Everybody's hair is different and unique. So you just have to find out what works best for you. I know that's frustrating to hear, but that first month you really are doing trial and error. Though the best thing I can tell you is to skip trial and error and minimize a lot of issues. Start as natural as possible. And that's why I love this natural henna Ayurvedic system. I suggest it for a new natural that's trying to build their regimen. I also want to do a video on that, how to build your regimen. Okay, so the mask is something, that's how it's applied. A gloss is applied the same way. The gloss is also applied thoroughly through your hair. You take portions out, you take a piece out, and you do it. You can do it with a brush, you can do it with your hands, but you are trying to apply it on every strand as much as possible. And then we can talk about how you've seen it in my regimen, how I do it. I believe the difference, and the biggest thing is, what's the difference between a mask and a gloss? The mask, the Ayurvedic mask that I am understanding, it is more about strengthening. So you are going straight up henna with the mask. Your goal, your ultimate goal when you're doing an Ayurvedic mask is to make it as strengthening as possible. And an Ayurvedic mask has mostly henna, and then you have these other things in it. Remember, these are natural things. It's almost like cooking. You got to think of when you take this natural step, it's like cooking. So everybody's a different type of a cook. Some people measure by eye, some people measure by because they want to be specific on their measurements, but you have to go by your taste buds, how your family likes food, who eats salt, who doesn't. So it's about you and your hair on how much you put. You see what I'm saying? So even though you get the ingredients from us, you've got to decide on, okay, what's normally done? Okay, what will I begin to do? Will I start? And usually with strengthening stuff, if you have fine hair like me, you want to start small and build up, especially with MSM, which comes with the vitamin C, and henna. And she talks about cassia also. Cassia is a replacement for henna. Some people are talking about how coconut oil is becoming their hair is getting sensitive to that. If you can at least get a little bit of it in there, it's really a great, great thing. And everybody I've seen on YouTube with hair down to their bottom, but they use a lot of them. I hear them saying things like coconut oil, castor oil. I'm hearing the same things, and coconut oil is one of the things I'm hearing. So unless you are 100% sure that you can't use coconut oil, try to at least get it in there. Okay, that was a side note. Okay, so a mask is an Ayurvedic mask, pure henna mask is, so a mask is a mask, but the type of mask that we're talking about when we talk about Ayurvedic strengthening mask, we're talking about a henna mask. Or you can replace it with cassia. I have not used that. I just know that I've heard her use it. So that would mean, this is what that means for the mask. That means that you are trying to keep it as strengthening as possible, which means that you need to keep the ingredients that are in, and I can't remember the name of the main ingredient for the henna. I will definitely write it out when I remember it. I'll type it at the bottom. But that needs to be able to not be hindered. And that's the thing with the mask. Okay, so let's get this clear. A mask needs the strengthening to not be hindered. What hinders it is the question, right? Oils is what I understand. Oils will hinder what the dye that is in the henna, that is the ingredient, the active ingredient that strengthens your hair, which that is the oils. The oils will hinder it, it'll soften it, it'll weaken it, it'll make it so that it's not as strong as it should be. So if your desire is to do that, that is great. But if it isn't, you want to not put the oils in there. Instead, you want to put other things like aloe vera in there. I believe lavender is what I've heard she used, and others have used. And I don't hear a whole lot about the henna mask, but that's what's tricky. It's a tricky one because you're gonna hear a lot. Tea rinses, you can put that in there, and lemon, I hear you can put in there, okay? Just things that won't hinder it, but will make it actually work more. And you have to let it sit and really marinate. So that is a mask, okay? A henna Ayurvedic strengthening mask, okay? That's what it is. A gloss. So a gloss is something that will, just think of the word gloss. My understanding of a gloss is really kind of softening, strengthening. Yeah, there's strengthening in there. But the point that you're trying to do is you're trying to strengthen, but you're conditioning in a more deep fashion. Like you're trying to get your conditioners to, it's almost like you take your conditioner and you're adding the strengthening stuff in it. Right? So it's very slippery that you're putting glossy stuff in there. You are putting the oils in there. You are putting your conditioner in there. You're putting those things that have oils and things that are glossy and I hate to use the word in a definition, so that are slippery in your concoction. However, what in the Ayurvedic system, it includes the strengthening, the gloss. So to answer your question about a gloss, it's basically, as far as I'm understanding, it is the mask weakened. It's like you've weakened the mask so that it's gentler on your hair. And the thing you're doing mostly is you're giving it that sheen, and you're giving it the luster and the softness that you're doing. And there are so many natural things out there that you can put in a gloss to make a Ayurvedic gloss do what we really want to do. So what we want to do when we do a gloss is we want that strengthening in there, but we want to add these other things that give it that slip and give it that moisture and give it that bounce, you know? So that's what I understand a gloss, and I actually like it, and I honestly recommend that you do that when you're starting your Ayurvedic system if you have fine hair, especially, because then you're easing your way into that pure henna. It turns out that I don't even think I may have done a pure henna, but I don't think I've done it as pure as Curly Proverbs. And now I think I'm ready to build to that level for my winter regimen. So I think my fine hair has gotten so much stronger that I think it can handle the pure. And what that pure henna is, it is called body art quality henna. So body art quality henna is that pure stuff, and it will color your hair red. If you look at my hair in the sun, you will see hues of red, okay? And that's okay. But you know why that's okay? Because I like a lift. I do. And if you've seen my old videos, I like light hair usually. But I've fallen in love with this natural, I just fell in love with my natural color, you know, because between the honey and the henna, it's bringing out a natural hue, and I'm really loving it. I fall in love with it. So I hope that you can get in love with it too. And the Lord, you know, gave me the honey, and I'm grateful because it's bringing out my henna. I like that lift. The other thing is, if you're getting any grays, you know, like I am, this is what I love about henna. I don't dye my hair anymore. I don't have to dye it because the henna, whether it's the gloss or the henna treatment, it's coloring my hair, and it's covering those grays, and it looks like highlights. So that's a little side note, and I'd love to talk to you more about that for those of whom are out there that want to know more about that, you know? So the difference between a mask, a henna Ayurvedic mask, and a henna Ayurvedic gloss is that the gloss has these fun things in it that give you that slip and that conditioning. But even after you've done either one, you still want to follow up with a conditioning, with a deep conditioning. Well, no matter what, because you have to keep that balance of the strengthening and the conditioning, okay? So that's quite important, very important. The third thing is the oils, and you know what? I don't think that's hard for me to explain because an oil is an oil. But because of the purpose of being crystal clear, which is one of the reasons why I'm on here, is because I want to use my teaching ability to make things as crystal clear as possible, because I had to go through so many videos to understand things and put pieces together to say, oh, that's what that is. No one video really explained things completely thoroughly. While I follow Curly Proverbs, that was kind of the beginning, and then I kind of looked at a lot of things. Now, she does a great job with explaining benefits of the ingredients, and she does a very good job. She's amazing, okay? So that's, nothing on that. But I'm just talking about like the hows and all these little things that a lot of times, not one person can answer everything. So you can't expect one channel or one person to answer every question out there. I really believe that each person's out here playing their part, you know what I mean? Like, she'll do her part, and then somebody else can be something else for you, and we can't be everything. One person can't be everything. So my part, I believe, is to share my regimen, just in case your hair is anything similar to mine, and you can pick up something from what I do, because no hair is perfectly the exact same, and to help clarify what I got out of what I've learned, synthesize it. So the oils, let me just be clear on the oils. The oils, think about the oils, where they came from. They basically came from the gloss and the mask. They're basically the same stuff. We just added more oils to it. So it's strengthening also. Think about it. So oils are strengthening your hair because they have infused all of those properties that are in the henna, and that are in all of the other ingredients. And we've added things like MSM, and we've added vitamin C, and we've added all these oils. So it's very strengthening as well. It's another way to strengthening. All three of these forms are the step of your Patrice's. I don't know who else has done it, but I have decided there are 5 major pieces that we need for, it doesn't matter what your porosity level is, doesn't matter where you are in your journey, everybody should be doing these 5 things. And I haven't really read the Curly Girl book, so I don't know if she also wrote this too. I'm sure it's out there. It's just like your skin. Your skin needs to be cleansed, it needs to be moisturized, and then you need to protect it. Okay, so I'm a Mary Kay consultant. I've done that for years. So I don't do it full time because I'm doing my dance fitness, but I'm a Mary Kay for lifer. So I love Mary Kay. And if you go to a Mary Kay meeting, a little side thing, everybody in there looks like they're no older than 35. And there's probably some 55-year-olds, 65-year-olds. Their skin looks great. So I'm sure there's newer things out there, but it's just a great, for those whose skin can handle it. Some people can't handle it. But anyway, I learned a lot when I sold Mary Kay, because I learned that there were 5 steps with skin, But there's the same, I believe there are 5 steps with hair. So you can call it the Patrice 5 steps. I don't know what you want to call it, or it's, suggested 5 steps. But basically, I believe everyone needs to cleanse. Depending on how you cleanse, you cleanse. I don't know about the pre-pooing and how that can go on forever, because at one point you got to clean your scalp. So, you find what works for you. So you cleanse. And pre-pooing, meaning pre-pooing without any kind of cleansing, completely cleansing. If you are low porosity like me, you need to be completely stripping and cleanse your hair, completely cleanse it, and strip it, not strip in the negative sense, but take all of the things that you've been putting in your hair for the week or half a week or whatever. It has to completely leave your hair, because you're not getting anything in there. The cuticles can't open up and get anything else in there if it's just, you got all this junk on top, okay? And a lot of times your hair looks like it's healthy, and it's really just stuff on top of it, and it's damaged. So just keep that in mind. Side note, we'll talk about that another time too. Anyway, so the 5 ones, you need to cleanse, you need to strengthen, which is what we're talking about. We need to deep condition, and leave-in is in that step. We need to seal, and then, of course, find out what your dressing is going to be. In the winter you might do butters, in the summer you might do gels, whatever it is, but that's a part of the 5 steps, and it needs to be part of your healthy 5 steps. So find a healthy gel, a healthy styling gel, or whatever it is you're going to use for styling, twist outs or whatever. So it depends on, it doesn't matter what you're doing with hair. Those 5 steps are Patrice's 5 steps. So if you know of other people who've done it, then a lot of times I'll be thinking things and I'll be like, oh, I'm on track. I didn't even read anything, So God is, I guess it's the Lord giving it to me. So please remember those 5 steps are very important. If you have not been doing those 5 steps, please incorporate that. Okay. So within that 5 steps, we're still in the strengthening step. We are all 3 of these masks, glosses, and oils are all in the strengthening step. All 3 of them. There are 3 ways in the Ayurvedic system that you will strengthen your hair. Okay, those are the 3 different ways. And I would say cycle them out so that you're not always doing that mask, that pure mask, because it's very strong, you know? And the oils and the glosses you could do more often, but the mask shouldn't be as often because it's very strong. Now, when you go into the winter months, I'm going to decide how that works for me, if I can do it more often because it's winter. But always following up with deep conditioning, because we need to keep that balance in our hair, because we don't want it to be so strong that it pops or so moist that it pops, you know? So we got to keep that balance. So the oils. When you're doing that oil in place of your strengthening step in your 5-step routine, you can do a hot oil treatment. And what makes oils is that you've infused all of these things that are also in your mask and in your gloss in your oil. And then if you look at my series that shows my full wash routine from part 1 through 5, you'll see that I squeeze out the oils and separate it from what's inside of the cloth. And what's inside the cloth turns into a gloss. So the oils we put in our hair, I showed you how to do that in a 2-step series of how to make the oils and how to put it in the hair. And it's very similar to how you would put your mask on. However, you are putting it on your scalp. Is the difference. Is not that the mask can't be on your scalp. We don't mind the mask on our scalp. We don't mind the gloss on our scalp. It has some great stuff in it. But for the oils, we want it to actually we want it on our scalp. That's actually where we want it, and on the ends especially. So we want it on our scalp. So we want to make sure it's on our scalp. Make sure we pull it through, but we make sure we have enough on the ends as well. And this is how we're strengthening with the oils. So masks, henna, the Ayurvedic system, masks, glosses, and oils have to do with strengthening. It's on the strengthening step. You're doing either or. Okay? So I hope that helped. And the biggest question was, what is a gloss? And so that will be my next video. I want to show you, because I have that leftover clay that was from when I separated from the oils, and it's time for me to do my gloss today. So I want to show you how I make the gloss. So I take that and then I add my conditioner. I can add my honey. I add whatever you want to put in there that is glossy, that is slip, that is conditioning, and that is sheen, you know. Marshmallow root. You could put some of that marshmallow in there, and we could put some honey in there. Some people have done banana. I haven't done that. Avocado. I think Curly Proverbs has done avocado. You know, think of anything, you know, stuff. Think of some things you've loved that have been great for conditioning your hair that's natural. Put it in there. And as long as it's good for your hair, and see what happens. Just mix it, make your own concoction. Share it with us, you know, let us know what you've done. But you've already got that base of the clay. And yes, keep it on my counter, closed in the jar where no water can get into it, and it just sits there. I could be having it infused even more for longer, but I've just been busy, so it just sits there and it's waiting for me to use it. So today I plan on using it. And I think there was something else I wanted to tell you. Yeah, so I'm doing that today. Oh yeah, this is what I want to tell you. Moving forward, I want to start looking into getting more of a pure henna, because I use the one with the 9 herbs in it. And to answer someone's question, they were wondering if they said that the bag that I used only has those other ingredients and has no henna. Well, it says in the beginning and the front of the bag that it says it's a henna. It's just that there must be a different name for it, the Indian name, or you know, but the first ingredient is the henna, and it's basically henna with these things in it. So they've already created a mask for you. You really don't have to put much in there. If you want to add some more things, you can, but that bag that I have, if I just took that bag and just didn't put much in there, but maybe lemon and maybe some water, you could put apple cider vinegar or just some things, or tea rinse. I could put a tea rinse in there. That would be my mask. It would be very strengthening, and I would keep all those properties in it, and then my hair. I haven't done a mask in a while, so it's time for me to do a mask very soon. But I'm going to start switching over soon for the winter to doing a straight henna mask with the body art level henna that Curly Proverbs suggests, because I believe my hair may be ready for that. And if you're ready for that level, you can go ahead and try it. I would strand test it if you're wanting to just jump ahead. I just didn't know how to find it, to be honest. And I think I found it, but I'm having a hard time getting it from the place she gets it. And I think it's Shea Cottage. So I think you have to get a code in there and all this stuff. So I'm gonna try and get that, and when I do it, I can share that with you. That because I'm trying to prepare for the winter months. I'm in the South, so of the U.S. So it doesn't get cold for a while here, but the temperature changes, and you can feel it in your skin. You know, as soon as September and October comes, you can feel it, even though it's not cold. So I just wanted to make sure this will be my first time, you know, having a regimen that actually protects my hair during the winter. And my goal is to stick to a wash and go. Being the fitness instructor, you know, just wanted to have this comfortable hairstyle and see if I can protect my ends in a wash and go for the winter. I think I'm onto something, and I'm not ready to share it yet. I have shared some of it, but I don't think you will know what I mean until I point it out. But I think my regimen may be the closest to protective styling for wash and go that I can see. So I want to talk to you about that. It's the products I'm using and stuff. So I want to see how it works in the winter. As soon as I see breakage, I'm going to change. And so I want you to know that. That's another thing I want you to know. Know when your hair is breaking. Know it and recognize it and feel it. Know, and I want to talk more about that too, because I couldn't tell. They kept saying, oh, you know, when you're ready to cut your hair, cut it when it's time. Well, what if you don't know what that feels like or what that looks like? How do we know when our hair is damaged? How do we know when our hair it's time to trim it? So I would love to share that with you as well. So I didn't know I had so much to share with you, but as I learn, I want to share with you. Once again, this video probably won't be edited because I don't like to edit. I like to be real and raw. But once I learn how to edit, maybe I'll do a little bit. I just like it to be real. I like you to know exactly what's happening. I don't want you to think that something else happened in between that edit, you know. So anyway, I love y'all so much. God bless you. Keep Jesus in your journey, you know. Hashtag Jesus in my journey is what I'd love to start spreading. Hashtag Jesus in my journey, because there is a difference. And the reason I'm not going to say you can put hashtag Jesus in your hair journey, but when I say Jesus in my journey, it's because I do fitness as well. And there's a journey in fitness. So my overall health journey, and including the hair. So I'm going to be posting some dance stuff here too. So I hope you join me and dance with me. Please subscribe and like. Thank you for staying with me this long on the video. I hope I've answered the questions. And thank you, because I kind of needed to think about that for a minute. And it helps me get more clarity myself. So thank you for your questions. I appreciate you so much. And continue to stay tuned for the next video, where I'm going to be showing you how I mix my gloss. Now that we know what gloss is, now you can begin to mix your gloss. Once again, and one more thing I want to tell you is that this is how we do it with the Ayurvedic system. But you can create a gloss without that clay from the oil. You know, you can just put a banana gloss. You can have an avocado gloss. You know what I mean? You don't really have to do a gloss that came from your oils. That's just a type of a gloss that why not use that stuff, because it's already been infused. It's a lot of expensive, sometimes expensive ingredients that we have. Why not keep, use it? So that's what I love about this natural Ayurvedic system. I just love the fact that there is no perfect way to do it. You just kind of figure out the basic Ayurvedic system, and then you kind of make it work for you, and know that you don't want to undo certain rules to what makes it a mask, what makes it a gloss, what makes it oil, and what steps you're using in the 5 steps. And Patrice's suggested 5 steps. That's what we're going to call it, okay, for now. So I love y'all, and I will talk to you later. Remember to keep Jesus in your journey. And if you have any prayer requests, just let me know. I love to pray. And if you can make it as anonymous as possible, probably. You know, I have the gift of healing, praying for healing, and I do have another channel, Patrice D'Evans Ministry, so you can put it there if it's easier to do it there. And then my acting channel, these are new channels that I'm developing. Patrice D'Evans is my acting channel that I'm going to put a series on, a fun series. I hope y'all join me in that series. And the series is going to be called Good Enough. So on my Facebook page, you can look it up, Good Enough, the web series. I'm going to do a web series with my acting. And I'm just going to be incorporating my life in there. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope y'all join me. So Patrice D'_Evans is a channel that's a brand new channel that I'm going to be building that on. And Patrice D'Evans Ministry is a page. Ministries is a page where I purely talk about the Lord. And don't be surprised if I get, you know, I have a strong side to me, and it's when the Holy Spirit is grieved. So yeah, I can be sweet and loving, but you know what? I have a lioness in me when it comes down to, you know, the love I have for people and for your souls and for you going to heaven. And just when I'm, you know, when I love you and I care about you and I want things, you know, you to be blessed and I want you to know what's right and someone's hurting, you know what I mean? That means a lot to me. So I'm a minister in that way. So I hope that you can join me in my other channels, Patrice D'Evans, that will be my actress page, and Patrice D'Evans Ministries. If it's inappropriate to kind of go into too much of that in this page, you can go ahead over there. I love you all so much. God bless you. And this will be my ending for sharing the gospel. If you can end here, if you've already received Jesus as your Savior. But if you'd like to hear it, I'd like to share the gospel with you. So you can repeat after me if you've never asked Jesus into your heart. Today is the day of salvation. So I'm just so excited to share it with you, because today could be your birthday of being born again in the family of Christ, where you will live forever with God in heaven with Jesus. He's been preparing a place for over 2,000 years. So could you imagine how wonderful that place is? If you've ever heard of anybody who's died and came back, man, they don't want to be here because it's that beautiful. So don't believe the deception on this earth right here that this is where it's at, you know, because there's something way better. I don't even think I could ever imagine what it is. So don't you want to have that forever? Because there's another place that's the complete opposite, where it's torment forever. So you know what? We don't want that, right? Right. So repeat after me if you'd like to receive Jesus as your Savior. That is the way to get to heaven, is to ask Him into your heart. So here we go. Jesus, forgive me of my sins. I repent of my sins. I turn from my ways. I want to live your way from this point on. I believe you lived on this earth and walked the earth. I believe you died on the cross just for me. I believe you unlocked the keys to hell and rose the third day. I believe you're alive today in heaven at the right side of God, the Father. Come into my heart and be my Lord and Savior, so I can live forever with you in heaven. Amen. Well, if you said that prayer for real in your heart, that's all it takes to receive Jesus in your heart and live forever. So God bless you. Happy birthday to you. Share that with everybody you know. That's the best gift you can give anyone. The best advice, the best gift is the gift of salvation. God bless you. I'll see you next time. My next video should be mixing my gloss, and I hope you join me. God bless you. Bye.